trouble. You believe in God, believe also in me. Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. According to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not perceive those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangels, and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. Therefore, encourage one another with these words. Thank you for joining us, Pearls with Veronica. Thank you for tuning us on Tuesday night at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us and share the file. I'm Jerry Rose Live Worldwide, and welcome to Positive Power, XXI Christian Media, Late Night Radio.
Good evening, and welcome to Pearls with Veronica, a show that is geared toward grief and loss and the process of living forward on Positive Power, XXI Christian Media. Grief, as we know it, is a natural response to a loss, usually associated with the emotional suffering following the loss of a loved one. And in coping or dealing with that loss, it can be one of life's biggest obstacles or challenges. Tonight, my guest is Paula G. Boyce, the award-winning host of My Journey with Paula G. She is also known as Lady Wisdom. Good evening, Paula G.
Good evening, my sister. How are you this evening?
I'm well. Thank you for accepting the invitation, and welcome to Pearls with Veronica.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Who is Paula G?
Oh, my goodness. You know, there was a time in my life when I was not able to answer that question, but I can boldly say today that Paula G is a woman that lives by a quote by George Eliot, "It's never too late to be what you might have been," and I'm walking in my might have been, and I'm encouraging others to do the same. As you mentioned, I'm the host of My Journey with Paula G, which airs on WATC TV 57 on Thursday mornings at 11:30 a.m. and produced by none other than Jerry Voice Live, Positive Power 21. So shouts out to Jerry. And for 6 years, I was the host of the Paula G Show on Survival Radio Network, and that is where I got my start in all of this. I am an author, I am an instructor, I'm a blogger, I'm an influencer, and I am on a journey using the gifts that God has given me each and every day that I wake up. So I'm truly grateful, truly blessed, and just a woman who has transformed her life and is walking in the truth of what that is.
In essence, reinventing and reevaluating some things. And I can relate to that. I can truly relate to that. I'm on the journey as well, finding out who Veronica is since she's lost her husband 5 years ago. So I'm learning who Veronica is.
Yes.
I'm learning.
Yes, it's a journey, and you go through these seasons, and when you are identified for so many years in one particular role, and then all of a sudden that rug is pulled out from under you, and you're having to redefine. It's a journey. It takes a moment, but you just have to be gentle with yourself and take your time and allow God to open those doors for you. Yes, you do. And that has been my new norm. That's the norm for me now, as far as finding out who Veronica is. Yes.
and not being identified as Reginald's wife. I'm no longer his wife. Now I'm Reginald's widow. And I'm not identified as the children's mom because they're adults. I'm still their mom, but they're adults now. So I've gone through several seasons. I've been in several seasons at the same time. And it's you're grasping, like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, God, I need direction. I need to just sit and listen. I need to sit and be still.
Right.
And knowing that, right. And knowing that, it's normal to grieve, and it's important to understand, some of the unexpected emotions that you or I may or may not experience, during our grieving process, like including shock, the disbelief, anger, guilt, or, profound sadness, or a lack of faith and trust in God. I know that grief, it can disrupt your physical health and or mental health, which may make it difficult to sleep, eat, or even think straight, which is like that grief, that fog grief fog. Yeah. How did you enter this grief and loss journey?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
I said, how did you enter this grief and loss journey?
Oh gosh, well, most recently, it's I've had several journeys with grief and loss over the years, and have had to respond to each of them differently. But the most recent one has been the loss of my mentor and the gentleman that actually was responsible for my start in media, and that is in the form of the CEO of the Survival Radio Network, the late, great Clark Garrison, whom we lost about 2 months ago. And for me, it has been a journey because it's been a different type of loss for me. This, he really symbolized the beginning. When we talked about Veronica, we talked about reinventing ourselves. And, for 23 years, I was, Lieutenant so-and-so's wife, then I was Captain so-and-so's wife, then I was Major so-and-so's wife, then I was Lieutenant Colonel so-and-so's wife, and then I was so-and-so's mom, and, like you said, all of these titles. And, in that process I went through that process of redefining who I was, first of all, discovering who I was, and then once discovering who I was, determining what it was that I could do at that point, and what doors were open to me, and what opportunities were available. So when I was at that particular threshold, that's when Clark entered my life, and we began to talk about media. We began to talk about radio. He gave me an opportunity to be on his network. He groomed me. He trained me. He mentored me. So he really was the symbol of that reinvention for me. Symbol of that transformation for me. So, for me, going through that process, and I'm still going through that process, it has conjured up, some of the, what I call the echoes, of the past. It's conjured up, taking back to, thinking, gosh, if this man had not entered, into my life, he's like a brother to me, and he took me under his wing, would I be where I am today? Would I still be asking those questions? Who is Paula? Would I have progressed as far, as I have? So it when you're going through, and I'm preaching to the choir, when you are dealing with grief based on that person's relationship to you in your life, it affects you differently.
Yes.
So yes, it affects you differently. So for me, it has shaken a bit of who Paula G. Voice is, because he was the foundation of the start of Paula G. Voice. So it's been a day-by-day process,
right?
For me. It is. Yes, and just, allowing myself to navigate through those emotions, and then also whatever other memories that might pop up, because sometimes when you're grieving about one loss, it can bring up other losses in your life that you may not have had the opportunity to grieve at that particular time. There was a book that was recommended to me some years ago, and the author's name.
I'm sorry, Paula. 1 minute. Paula, your mic is
yeah.
popping really, really bad. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's picking up air.
Is that better?
Let's hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell once you start talking. Okay.
Okay. That when you are when your one loss can cause you to other emotions to resurface. And there was a book that
Right.
I can't quite remember the name of the author, but the title of the book was "Buried Feelings Never Die." And, sometimes through your life, you may not have the opportunity at that particular time to grieve that particular loss. And you just keep moving, forward with your life every day. And then, maybe sometime down the road, another loss will occur, and you're dealing with that particular loss at the time, in addition to the one that, that may come up because you haven't had it to grieve that in the past. So it, for me at this particular phase of my life, it is a daily process. And as I mentioned before, just allowing myself to navigate through those emotions and giving myself the space to do that. Whereas in the past, I have not necessarily had that opportunity to do that. So for me, this has been it's been a little different than previous experience.
Previous losses. I can understand that because with the loss of my husband, we've been married for 22 years, and when he passed away, the Tuesday nights, I was in here reflecting, like you said, when sometimes those things that one grief will bring on another from the past, it'll bring up another feeling. And I was in here the other day, and I was thinking about how I'm on Tuesday night, and Tuesday is the night he died on a Wednesday, so that Tuesday night was a night I actually sang him a song. He asked me to sing, and I knew it was by the grace of God that he was able to talk to me that night and ask me to sing to him. So Tuesday, I'm like, oh my God, and I began to weep inside the house. I was like, God, why am I weeping? Why am I weeping about this? Then it hit me. Tuesday, the night before he passed away. And so I kind of take Tuesdays as I relish them. It's like my baby. I don't let anything or anybody get in my space on Tuesday because I have a job to do on Tuesday nights, and I need to be focused. I don't need any distractions because I'm learning on this process. I'm learning about podcasting. I'm learning how to share my experience and then open up the doors for anyone else to share their experience with, loss and grief and how they're coping and navigating on their journey as well. And because the work in grief is so intense, how has your faith strengthened you?
Well, my faith has always been consistent. My faith has always been strong. And, for me, it's walking in what it is that would make him proud, or walking in what it is that he has, trained me and showed me how to do, and doing that with excellence. Because in turn, God gives us all of these wonderful gifts, and when He gives us these gifts, He also will place people in our paths to help us, to sharpen those gifts and to help us to utilize those gifts. So for me, my faith comes in the form of, God has given me these gifts. He's placed this media mogul in my life to help me to utilize these gifts and to sharpen these gifts. So through that, for me, that is my faith. Through that, and continuing to, work in radio and television and media, and to, I'm always keeping him in the back of my mind if I'm going on air, if I'm on radio or television or what have you, and as I'm navigating, okay, what did he teach me? What did he tell me to do? How do I do this? How do I do that? And just giving each and every opportunity that I have the best that I can, give it to, one, to honor Clark's memory, but also to honor, God and the fact that he has, given these opportunities and, placed me in this particular path.
What I like to know is how have you managed to make time for Paula G to unplug from distractions on this journey?
Oh, I've been very intentional. That's something that I had to learn the hard way. That's something that I had to learn. Yes, that's something. The unplugging is something that I had to learn the hard way. And, out of that experience, it taught me that we, as women, and I'm saying as women, I'm sure men probably have these experiences, but since I've never been a man, I can't speak to it. But, as women, we're such nurturers, and we're taking care of everyone, and we're always multitasking and so forth. And at times we're made to feel guilty about taking time for ourselves or taking care of ourselves. And for me, I've reached a point of being unapologetically selfish at times. And that comes in the form of me taking care of me. I take one day a week where I just completely unplug. I don't answer my phone. I may not, I'll watch television if I choose to, but, social media is off, television is off, the phone is off. I just completely unplug and just, relax my mind. If I can go to the lake, I go to the lake. If I walk the mountain, I'll walk the mountain. If I sit out on my patio and enjoy the breeze and read a book, or just sit and meditate, I just allow myself to unplug. I allow my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit to just rest.
Yeah, we have to turn off our brains.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, because especially at night, I don't know about you, but sometimes at night my brain, I wake up in the morning and I feel like a truck has hit me. And I'm like, okay, I've been laying here for 8 hours. Why do I feel like a truck has hit me? Because I haven't turned off my brain,
And that has been a challenge for me as well, turning off my brain at night.
Right.
Because then I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, did I sleep? I have bags in my eyes. Did I sleep? Did I sleep?
Right, exactly.
Like you're multitasking in your brain, like, okay, I know how to do this tomorrow. This is the schedule for this, and this, and so then you're not sleeping because you're like, okay, my brain is still working, my eyes are closed, but I'm still thinking. And then there are times that
subconscious.
That I can actually hear singing, and then I'm like, okay, who was that singing? Was that me again? Mm-hmm. Because I have a tendency to sing while I'm sleeping, and my grandson would say, Mima, you were singing, but your eyes were closed. I said I was singing. And then, later on in the morning, I'll post on Facebook because it'll come back to me once I get moving around the house. It'll come back to me. I woke up singing this song. I heard this song in my sleep, so I'll post it on Facebook. Woke up singing, all is well.
Yeah, all is well with my soul.
It is. You're going, okay, I didn't do that. But I'm learning. I've learned to say no, and that has been a killer for me, saying no, because of my heart. I want to help you, but now I've got to learn. I've had to learn it the hard way, like you said. You got to be intentional, and I'm learning to be intentional. I'm learning. My son told me 2 weeks ago. He said, "Mom, would you just please sit down and relax? We don't need you cleaning up this. We're going to get this. We're going to take the trash out."
Yeah.
I think my OCD-ness, is that a word?
It kicked in. It
kicked in.
I think sometimes that might happen. Yes, I think sometimes that might happen naturally.
And he was like, Mama, we got this. Just sit down and enjoy the crabs with us, Mama. Just chill. I'm like, I'm trying, but this is over here. This needs to be over here.
We've got to do this. We've got to do that.
He said, well, somebody please give us something to drink. I was like, okay, thank you.
Exactly.
But
no.
I can relate to, the walking in what God would have you to do to make him proud. And that's a constant with me. God, this is a new door that has opened for me. This is a baby that you gave me to birth. Open the door, put people in my path to help me, teach me, to be more, to stop saying, to speak more clearly, take my time in talking and speaking, have that presence, the presence and television presence or radio presence. So this is a new venture for me. It's a new venture, and I'm excited about it as well.
Yeah.
And like you say, you have to be intentional. And oftentimes, when we are grieving a great teacher or mentor or guide, or, we're not only grieving the memories or the moments that we've had with them, but the lessons they haven't taught us yet. Like, okay, the substitute teacher isn't here anymore. What am I supposed to do now? I'm showing up to class, but there's no teacher.
Yes. Yes.
So,
yes. And it's you really, I found, and of course it certainly was not the same as losing a spouse, but after 23 years of a marriage and a marriage ending, and again, by no means am I comparing, when you spend that many years in a particular role or a particular mindset, it takes some time. It really, really takes some time to shift because that role, that mindset is also a part of your subconscious. It's part of your subconscious. So it really it could take some time, and it could take time that's longer than people think it should take. And that's something that sometimes, some people may say, oh, well, it's been such and such a number of years, it's time for you to move on, or things of that nature. But no one can put a time stamp on that for you. And that's something else that you have to protect, is your time frame for taking that journey.
And I love that, because with me, I've had to take time. Don't tell me that, well, you need to move on. No, I can't move on, because I've been with him for like 22 years in marriage, and that was my ears. Those are my ears. My ears are no longer, my human ears are no longer here, but God has supplied me with more human ears. But he is, the greatest comforter and hearer of it all. And the process may take longer. I don't know. But I just have to, you and I both just have to embrace the process. We just have to embrace it. And it's in our time, and it's in God's timing. Everything is in God's timing. Everything. Exactly. What did your mentor teach you that you can leave, or that we can glean from?
Oh my gosh. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Commitment. I would say the one big thing is commitment. When you make a decision to do something, it should be something that's well thought out. You've thought of all of the angles, all of the possible angles, all of the possible scenarios. And once you make that commitment, then you honor that commitment. So, for example, I remember one of the early conversations when we were having about radio, and I asked him, about what his expectations were. in regard to a radio host. And I'll never forget the first thing he told me he said, I want you to take some time, because I said, okay, I can start, in a couple weeks. He said, no, I want you to take some time. He said, I want you to listen to some shows, listen to my show, research who I am, what I've done, so forth, listen to other shows, and allow yourself the time to learn the craft a bit. And then once you've allowed yourself the time to learn the craft, then determine what is your platform. What is it what is your platform, and what are your boundaries? What are those things that you are willing to discuss on air? What are those things that you are not willing to discuss on air? What day, time, evening, morning, whatever it is, will you commit to? Because once you commit to that time, your audience will expect you to be on air. For years, we all knew across the United States, for years, when the 4 o'clock hour came, who did we know was going to be on for a talk show? Oprah Winfrey.
Right.
So, it was the biggest lesson for me was commitment, honoring that commitment, and excellence. And whatever it is that you decide to do and you commit to doing, do it and move forward in excellence, and do not ever compromise, that excellence, which may mean saying no at times, to certain people, certain opportunities, but,
right.
Honoring the truth of who you are on your platform, and, not allowing anyone to have you sway one way or another. And that was a very valuable lesson for me, because there were a couple of situations over the years where there were particular individuals that wanted to be guests on my show, but their particular platform was not in sync with my platform. And I remember them getting very, very upset with me. With me being on your show, Paula, this could be an opportunity for you to increase your audience and so forth and so on. And that may well have been true, but their platform was not in sync with where I was. And for me, I had to be true to my audience and what their expectations were, at that time. So those are just a few of the valuable lessons that that he taught me.
That's one of the things that I'm learning as I journey into podcasting is a commitment, and like you said, commitment well thought out. Honor your commitment. What is your platform? Who are you? Who's your audience? How will you engage? Are you engaging? So, and what are your boundaries? And do it in excellence, and do all things in love.
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
I'm learning those things, and I really appreciate Jerry when I have questions.
Exactly.
He tells me. And he'll talk to me. He'll talk me through it and everything.
And I always say the two of them, between Clark and Jerry, the two of them have really been just major parts of me get on this journey and where I am, on this journey, because they both have just been so gracious in, support, resources, opportunities, and so forth. So they're my bookends. Clark Garrison, Jerry Royce, a.k.a. Batman. That's my bookends.
Batman.
He
never sleeps.
Never sleeps. And that's and that's the thing. It was so funny because you say that, because I would find myself texting both of them in the middle of the night, and I'm like, these men never sleep. They just don't sleep because they love what they're doing. They're passionate about what it is that they're doing, and they're so good at it. And when you have that kind of passion and you have that kind of drive, I guess it's hard to sleep.
Yes, And then too with that, like you said, never sleeping, because they're always encouraging us on our journey as well. So it's like they feel what we're feeling and can encourage us in those different areas, in the seasons that we're in. That's how I've been gleaning from from Jerry in that area.
Exactly.
Great mentors, they don't tell us what to do. They find ways to bring out the best in you. In what way did your mentor bring out the best in you?
Oh, gosh. The opportunities that he placed in front of me, which, at first looked intimidating, but he did it for a reason, because sometimes you don't see the goodness in yourself. You don't see the greatness in yourself, or
right.
You may not see yourself where others see you. So I would find myself, because we did a lot of live remotes together here in the Atlanta area, and I would find myself seated across these well-known individuals in my first or second year of doing live remotes. And, I'm thinking, I'm a rookie, and I'm sitting here, interviewing this person. Clark, why'd you sit me down with this person? And he would say, you have the ability, you have the capability, you have the skills, you can hang, you can do this. And so the thing that I appreciate about him was helping me to see within myself that he was absolutely right, that, I could carry that interview. I could, hold my weight, sitting there next to, Christy Paul from CNN, and I think it was my first or second year doing, live remotes, that sort of thing. So he was very good at seeing those things within me that I didn't see within myself, then placing me in position so that I could see those things. So I'm very grateful for that. Very grateful for that.
I can appreciate that. It was funny because tonight I told Jerry, he was informing me that one of the shows was running a little late and was going to run into the 10 o'clock time. And so I said, well, I don't have a number from Miss Paula. Will you let her know that the show will be running late? Mm-hmm. And he said, yes. He said, yes. And I said, I'm a scaredy cat now. I said, oh, my God. And I've been telling God all day, okay, God, I need you to tell me, give me the right questions to ask Miss Paula. Yes. Oh, my God. I said, she is here, and I'm right here. Oh, Lord, what am I supposed to do? So I've been having this conversation in my head, and I've been walking around in the store looking for this stainless steel trash can and said, okay, God, they don't have the trash can. But, God, what am I supposed to ask Miss Paula tonight? I think Miss Paula is over here.
So feeling. Because I've been, I have been in that position. But, I always coined this phrase that you and I are having a conversation and the rest of the world just happens to be eavesdropping. So however that conversation flows, and whatever direction God takes it in, that's just how it, opens up, and that's just how it flows. Because that's, one thing as you're doing radio and you learn that the more organic, a conversation is, the more fulfillment and joy that you'll get out of it, as well as your guest will, as well. And, sometimes you do run into, sometimes you run into guests that, maybe, okay, what are you going to ask me? And can you send me the questions? And, things of that nature. But, for the most part, most of us, we just having you and my sister, we just having a conversation. Everybody else is listening.
Okay.
They just eavesdropping.
Thank you, eavesdroppers.
Yeah, they're eavesdroppers and listening to our conversation.
Correct. You are so right. You are so right.
Yes.
And even and on this journey, I've learned that I quietly fought for my joy. At the time, my daughter was 13 at the time when my husband passed away. So I was fighting for my joy, finding my joy, but I've also had to fight for her joy as well because I'm 13. I don't have my dad anymore. I'll be graduating from high school in 4 years. He won't see me graduate. He won't see me go to the proms. He won't, escort me for homecoming. He won't, walk me down the aisle when I get married. So it's all these things that he won't do, and that he won't be able to see. She was a cheerleader. She competed competitively in high school on their competition team, and then she cheered on on an all-star team. So she was constantly doing those things to help her with her, and it helped her with her grieving process. And she runs track as well. So, and finding that joy, I had to fight for it. I was quietly fighting for my joy, quietly fighting for it. Tell me, how has Paula fought for her joy?
Oh gosh, especially during this pandemic, it was something that I posted the other day. Encouraging the audience. There were a few things I was encouraging the audience. One, I was talking about unplugging and meditating and, picking up one of those old dreams or one of those old passions that you may have had before and didn't have an opportunity to, begin to engage in and engage in that. But also extracting the joy from each and every day. A lot of times when people ask me, how are you doing? And my response is, I woke up this morning. I woke up this morning. As simple as that sounds, I woke up. There's some people that can't say that.
Exactly.
I woke up this morning. So just the fact that I woke up brings me joy, because that means I have an opportunity to do something great with that day. I have an opportunity to use the gifts that God has given me. I have an opportunity to show him that I appreciate the fact that I woke up and that I have the activity of my limbs and I have these resources and this TV show and this radio show and, all of these different platforms. So I find joy in each day in being able to get up and to take advantage of those opportunities that are set before me on that day. So I fight for it each and every day. Sometimes when we wake up, and I don't know if you have this experience, Veronica, but sometimes, you wake up in the morning. Sometimes I wake up with a heaviness in the morning. No particular reason. Yes. You just, in that early morning hour, you just wake up with this, it's like a heavy spirit over you. You just wake up with this heaviness. And I have found, over the years, in the past, when I've, dealt with grief or when I've dealt with other situations that have, caused anxiety, stress, depression, what have you, waking up with that heaviness, I've had to fight to get past that heaviness, because the days that I didn't fight were the days that I was still laying in bed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So with those experiences, I realize that when I wake up and I wake up with that feeling, I have to fight, really literally fight for my joy. So if that means, I'm not looking ahead to, later on down the line in the morning and all the what ifs and the shoulda, woulda, couldas, at that particular moment in the morning when I'm feeling that heaviness, my first thought is get up, take a shower, put some clothes on.
Exactly.
And then, yes. And then, now I got up, I took a shower, I put some clothes on. All right, good. Just go for a walk. It's just a spontaneous. Yes, ma'am. Go for a walk.
Mean.
Yeah.
I'll get up, and that heaviness is sitting on you. You wake up like
it's sitting on
4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, okay, God, I'm heavy this morning. I'm heavy. I said to devil, not today, devil, not today. And because of the pandemic, I'm having to virtually e-school my grandchildren because my daughter can't do it right now. So I have the more flexible schedule. And so I'm sitting and I'm lying in bed and I'm like, okay, I have these children here. So like early this morning, I was praying, and the little one, she touched me, and I was crying. She said, Mima, are you okay? And I just kept praying. I touched her. She said, oh, I'm going back to sleep because Mima is praying. But I knew that yes, and then that heaviness, because I felt heavy, and I
Yes.
I was praying out loud. It was loud,
Yes.
and the tears began
Yes.
to flow. And I kept saying, "Devil, not today, not today. You will
Mhm.
not steal it today." So I got in
Mhm.
here. I got them situated. I went outside. I said, "Listen, I'll be opening the doors again today, so let in God's good fresh air, okay?"
Yes.
And that's what I
Yes.
did. And
Yes.
and then on yesterday,
Yes.
my grandson, he had written me this note because I was feeling it. I felt it yesterday as well. And he
Mhm.
said, "Veronica, funny, smooth grandmother, intelligent, pretty, sweet,
Mhm.
playful, tomboy,
Oh.
love pink, helping, pearl,
All of those
love
wonderful
to read,
things.
smart." And he just said, he said, "I'm a Mima and an author, a writer." And I'm saying, he's speaking these things into me. I said, "Thank you, grandson." I'll put it on my keyboard.
There you go.
I-
Speaking those things.
So, yes, and I'm sitting here looking at it, I'm like, you know what? I said, "Thank you, God. You knew what I needed. You knew you had to do these things for me, right, because of the heaviness." Go outside,
Yeah.
and I love the beach. You know, I take comfort in water. I love the water. I have water babies, so I love the water. It's so comforting and it's calming. You just get to dig your toes in the sand and just sit there and just listen. Just sit and, listen and watch.
It is.
But you're listening as well, too.
Yes, and just the serenity of it. And you know something that I found that I had to make a shift in, because I used to do the same thing. I would wake up and I would say, "Devil, okay, not today, not today." But then I made a shift, and I quit talking to him in the morning. I quit saying that, and I started saying, when I woke up with that heaviness, instead of saying, "Devil, not today, not today," it was, "Lord, thank you for waking me up. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for your." I started talking to God. "Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy." I would start reading Psalms. I would start reading Proverbs, and just continue, your favorite scripture, all of those things, just speaking to God in the morning. And for me, that heaviness began, I found that the heaviness began to lift faster than, "Devil, you ain't doing this to me today. We are not having this conversation. You're not coming in my life." You know what I'm saying? One day I stopped. I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm talking to the wrong person," or the wrong spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's
Yes, yeah, but
I can relate to that as well, because like you said, you start talking to him, and you turn it around. And this morning, Dr. Jazz was on with her prayer, and she was talking about some things, and I said, I normally don't wake up to her, but what I heard this morning, God. So when I listened to the prayer, because what I had just prayed, she was actually praying it, and I said, "Okay, God, this was meant for me." And like you say, you get up, you say, "Well, God, I thank you, because I've moved back into the first home that my husband bought me in the renovation process." And, in renovating, after 20-something years, it's taking time. And I'm one of those people, okay, everything has to be in order. But, God teach me, no, it's not on your time, good sister. I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to slow you down a little bit. I'm slowing you down. And I understand that, that's part of my healing process. Veronica, you have got to slow down. You got to take some time. Breathe, Veronica, breathe. So, like you say, I'm talking to the devil. Stop talking to him. Do not address him at all. And I wake up telling God, "God, I thank you that I have a roof over my head." Because I know some widows, they don't have a roof over their head. God, I thank you for allowing me to put food in here to eat. It's just me at times, but I'm grateful for that too. God, I thank you for my eyes. I thank you for my health and my strength. And God, I honor you in all that I say and do. I want to walk in your will. I don't want to walk in anybody else's will. I want to walk in your will. Right. And, even thanking him for those 22 years of the love that you had and the love that you shared, because a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't have that. And even just thanking him, for that as well. You were talking about your daughter earlier, and a friend of mine, a young lady, she recently lost her father, and she was sharing that what helps her
And she said, every now and then I have to stop and think. She said, I miss him so much. She said, but then every now and then, she said, I have to stop and think. She's like, wait a minute. 50% of me is him.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, okay, he is with me. He's, he is a part of me. He is with me. She said, and sometimes she begins to speak to that part of her, and that gives her comfort. That gives her some comfort as well. She's a little bit older, but she said that gives her, some comfort, that she says, I speak to the daddy within me, and that, and that comforts me at times. Yes.
That's so amazing, because Olivia, she runs track for Kennesaw State University, and when she's running, she always tells me, okay, Daddy, here I go.
Exactly,
okay,
yes.
Here we go.
Yes, exactly.
She always says, I talk to my daddy. She said, when I get in my car, I say, okay, Daddy, come on, let's go. What are we eating today? What are we going to do today, Daddy?
Yes.
And you said about that young lady saying that 50% of her is her dad. I never knew until about 3 years ago that my husband actually ran track. I didn't know that, because I was going through some things and like putting some things away, and I was like, what's jingling in this bag? So I opened the bag up, and there are all these medals. I'm going, what in the world? I said, now we know Olivia's white. And so I put them out. She came home from school one day, and I had the medals sitting out. She said, what are those? I said, your daddy's track and field medals.
There you go.
Oh, these are gold medals.
Does she look like him? Does she look like him?
Oh, Miss Paula, yes, she does.
He couldn't deny if he tried.
If he tried, he couldn't deny.
He couldn't.
He couldn't. The judge would say, sir, you are dismissed.
Exactly. Take your daughter and go home.
Sir, and go home. And she favors his baby sister Stephanie a lot, too. My sister-in-law, the youngest one, oh, my God. They are like triplets. But, yes, if you find her on, she's on Instagram. And if you go on my Instagram page, I think I posted her on my Instagram page when they took their headshot for their new track season. And and she looks just like him. It's hilarious. It is so.
Yes.
And
that was it. And that was the other thing. The young lady was saying. She said, and I look just like him. She said, sometimes I talk to him like that. I look just like you, but the only difference is my hair is longer than yours.
And she has like his hands and his feet. I go, oh my God, what in the world is happening here?
Exactly. So there you go.
Okay, this is crazy.
There you go. But that that is so funny, because a lot of times the girls often do look like their fathers. They do often look like their fathers.
Like my daddy. I'm like, okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, it's crazy because she was supposed to have been born in June, but she was a preemie, so she came earlier. She came about 6 weeks early, about 46.
Oh my goodness!
About 46 weeks early, so she was a preemie. So she's always had to fight to be here. So she's a fighter. She's my fighter. Yeah, she's my fighter. My birthday gift.
Yes.
She's my birthday gift.
Your birthday gift. Your gift.
Yes. Yeah, she's my birthday gift. This is like 2 days after I'm May 14th and she's May 16th. So I always call her my birthday gift.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that's my birthday gift.
Yeah. Oh,
yes. I think it is. It truly is. And I know we talked about like reinventing ourselves and reevaluating things and searching inward for our passion. How has Paula done that, and how has that? And expound on the process.
What was the second part of that question?
Tell us how you have did the reinvention, the reevaluating, looking inward since your mentor's death. How has that
Oh,
process
gosh.
been for you?
Mostly reflection, for me.
Reflection.
Just mostly, yes. Mostly, reflection, because reflection on the reinvention process, and what brought me to this point. Not necessarily, from the time of his death to now to having to reinvent myself again, but just reflecting on that process. Oh, because that was a 6-7 year process. So reflecting on that process, and then looking at, where am I now, and where is it that I see myself going, and what will it take for me to get there and actualize that, if you will. Where do I envision myself going, and what will it take to get there, to bring that in order for it to manifest, for me. Because of the one of the many wonderful things about him is he was always charting new courses, and on new territory. At one point it was radio, then it was the television, and then photography. He was just a fantastic photographer. A lot of the photos that are on my social media, especially the ones with the locks, there was a book, the tabletop book that he put together. Did not get a chance to publish it, and perhaps his wife will do that. Entitled "Locks and the People That Wear Them," and I actually was his first model. And actually, somehow, I don't know how, grace of God, I guess, somehow I wound up on the cover, of that book. But just, one of the other things that I gained from him as well was exploring each and every facet of your journey. All of the different gifts that you have, the skills that you have. For me, it's been, we started in radio, and then, doing live remotes, and then the opportunity, here at Positive Power for television unfolded. Then the opportunity for me to write a book and be an author. Then there was an opportunity for me to start blogging. And, now most recently there's an opportunity for me. I'm launching my own course called The Mindset Journey. It's going to be a 5-week course that will be launching October 26th, and it's about unlocking the negative memories and embracing your new narrative. And basically the course was birthed out of that initial journey that I took up to meeting Clark, and what it took for me to even get to that point, to be able to receive someone saying, hey, have you ever thought about radio? Have you ever thought about, having your own radio show? Prior to making that mindset journey, I would not have even entertained that, because that was not the mindset that I was in. So I had to go through a transformation of my mindset, going back and peeling back layers, analyzing situations and circumstances in my past, the echoes from my past, addressing those, and then beginning to write that new narrative. And, that was a journey, and it took me some time. And people would ask me all the time, how did you reinvent yourself?
Hello?
I think Paula, she went into silent mode. She's still here, but I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Paula, you might have to hang up. Yeah, she's on Skype. Sometimes Skype can get like this sometimes. All right, she's going to dial back in.
Oh, okay. She's on Skype.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good show.
Okay.
Yeah, very good show. All right, she'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right, let's just go to a commercial break real quick, and
Okay.
then I guess we can close out when she get back in, okay?
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Did you know that internet radio and television can help bring worldwide awareness to your business? During this current season, the number of businesses that are conducting business from home are increasing. Also, many of us are staying home these days, and many actually prefer to shop from home. Positive Power 21 produces positive, faith-based programming that is seen around the world. Around the world on platforms such as WATC TV 57 in Atlanta, Roku, Hulu, Truly TV, Geneco Faith-Based TV, DeKalb 25 in DeKalb County, Georgia, and YouTube. Now that all adds up to a global reach of over 20 million households. Positive Power 21 has radio and television underwriting opportunities available that can assist you in gaining worldwide exposure for your business, product, or service. Opportunities that will tailor to any budget and will provide you with the opportunity to market your business, product, or service indefinitely. Interested? Email jerryvoicelive@gmail.com or paula@paulagvoice.com for more information.
You're listening to Jerry Voice Live Worldwide Podcast.
Yeah, we're back.
And we're back.
Welcome back, Paula.
So, part of being a radio host, is sometimes technical difficulties. But we're back.
Right.
But we're back.
In closing, a true mentor never really dies. Their work lives on in you. Yeah. You have been blessed with the treasures they have left behind, be it in writings, art, or music, stories, or mementos. Those things can never die. They leave their lessons of wisdom and grace, and those things can never die. If someone you look up to made a difference while they were here on earth, just imagine what they can do now that they have their wings. Paula, tell the listening audience where they can find you so they can book you.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I have enjoyed this conversation with you this evening. And I just wish you the best and that the doors of opportunity will continue to open for you to explore your gifts, to share your gifts, and to continue your journey through the healing process and continue unapologetically at your own pace. So be encouraged, and this has just been a great conversation. Your audience can reach out to me via Paula G. Voice on Facebook. Instagram is Paula G. Voice as well. If they want to, reach out directly, Paula at paulagvoice.com. And if they are interested in the course that I was talking about, the Mindset Journey, that will be launching October 26th, they can go to my website, paulagvoice.com, or they can reach out via email, Paula at paulagvoice.com for more information.
Before we end tonight, I'd like to end in a prayer.
Yeah.
Dear God, suffering is never pleasant, Lord, but you often bring about good in our lives as you help us through the hard times. We have been through adversity, has come increased strength. Through challenges have come new growth. Through pain has come greater depth, God. Though questioning has come more understanding. Through our grief has come truer empathy. Through our loss has come an ability to cherish, and through rejection and incredible capacity, love has filled our hearts. As we reflect on all we have endured, we see that from the ashes of suffering, God, you have created new beauty in our lives. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you all for tuning in to Pearls with Veronica. And special thanks to my special guest, Paula G., on Positive Power XXI Media. Thank you all, and have a good night.
Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. According to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not perceive those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangels, and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. Therefore, encourage one another with these words. Thank you for joining us, Pearls with Veronica. Thank you for tuning us on Tuesday night at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us and share the file. I'm Jerry Rose Live Worldwide, and welcome to Positive Power, WXI Christian Media, Late Night Radio.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.